This is the LG 32FS2ANB CRT television from around the year 2006. The tube is fully flat, 32 inches in size, widescreen and super slim. You can see the super slim printing on the corner there. So the profile or the depth of television is somewhat less than many out there. This was a trend that LG and Samsung used towards the end of CRTs, I suppose, to in part compete with LCDs and plasmas, but they never had any hope of getting as slim. What is of interest is obviously the super slim tube, but also it has component input. That's probably enough to get the TV over the line to make it worth reviewing. However, upon further research, I noticed down here on the front, it has written there, if we can get it, it's in the shade, 100 Hz, HD ready, XD engine. Not that I particularly care for 100 Hz, but I do read that it is capable of displaying 1080i and 720p and 480p and all of those. So that's enough to really get it over the line to make me want to do a review. There's the buttons on the side, menu OK, volume up, down, program up, down. A set of connectors on the side. I'll turn the television around so we get it into the sun. S-video, composite, stereo left and right, no headphone jack. There's the label, model number, sales model, model number, 240 volts, made in Korea. The inputs and output component, the all-important antenna, composite again, composite out, power lead dangling from the hook. 52 kilos, fairly heavy little lumpy thing it is. A bit scuffed up, this one, but it works, that's the main thing. And there's the power switch on the side. Let's open it up and have a look inside. Oh yeah, that's ridiculously thin, isn't it? Not necessarily in a bad way, but with the shell-off you can really see how slender the tube is. Amazing, isn't it? Although there is a cost to the image. Let's see if LG's done any better with this model. We better have a look at the actual tube label. LG Philips W76ERS270XV1, made in Korea. Look at that for a yoke, a square yoke, neck board, all the usual stuff on the inside. Big fat flyback with 3 knobs on it. We might have a dual focus sort. With the neck board off, perhaps you'll be able to see at the socket, CRT socket on the back, the wedged trapezoid section's got 2 pins inside, so that is most likely the dual focus. Focus for the outside area of the tube and focus for the center. We may have to employ that, see if we can improve it if it needs improving. This will probably be quite a long video to review the LG. What I have here in front of us is an assortment to use to test on the TV, starting with the NES. That'll be for a light gun test, followed by the Sega Saturn, NTSC videos, what I'll use from that. PS2 will be for component or 240p over component. The Xbox 360, good for testing 480p, 720p, 1080i at 50 and 60 Hz, so that'll give us an idea on the TV's compatibility. Finally, ending on the Wii U, the last of the analog video output consoles. I'll use that as a showcase for the TV's capabilities. Look at some nice graphics from that console. The remotes. The remote on the left is very close to, or is the exact remote for the television. LG's got an enormous range of remotes with minor revisions. The remote on the right, if you haven't already seen that, is the factory SVC Remicon remote. It acts as a normal remote as well as being able to get service menu access at the touch of a button. It's an excellent remote, very cheap, still available today to buy. Works even on modern LG televisions, I think. So that will be the one I'll be using exclusively. I imagine it will be fully compatible. Having just powered on the television, I can see that the outside is somewhat blurry. It was more blurry upon first powering. It's settled in a little bit more. Its focus has sharpened up a touch, but it's still somewhat blurry. And that 100 Hz effect also on top is probably giving a little bit of a blurry look too. There's quite a bit to explore here. Hooked up now is the NES, PAL NES via composite video with Duck Hunt, obviously for a light gun test. Firstly, what I'll do is I'll switch it into 4:3 mode. It's in 16:9, now it's 4:3. Having a look in the menu a bit more closely, starting from the top. Okay, I've got it custom setting, increase the color a bit, drop the contrast. XD, it's a digital processing of some sort, slightly brighter. Cinema, velocity modulation, that is to adjust sharpness of the picture. This is where it gets interesting, virtual HD, so you've got 100 Hz, in other words, Pro and 1080i. This is a bit like Sony, and all the other brands have all their fancy names for these different modes. Sony's is DRC 1250, DRC 100. This is LG's attempt, so I'll explore these a little bit more. It's on 100 right now. We'll leave it on that. We're in 4:3 aspect ratio, testing the gun. Ugh, I don't want this mode, but it'll do. No. No surprise that it's not working. Don't be deceived into thinking it's the flat screen that's doing it. It's not at all, it's the refresh rate that's not compatible with the gun. Change it to Pro. I don't know why it does that, it just does that sometimes. Switching between these modes. I'll reset the console. It's all good. Duck hunt. You know, back here again. No, no good. We'll try the last mode. 1080i mode. It's a bit brighter on that one. One more go. No, that 100 Hz refresh rate's preventing the gun from working. No surprise. On the 100 Hz, that gives it a very flickery look. It's almost like it's making it interlaced. It's being tricked. Probably makes an interlaced picture look like a progressive, but here it's the opposite way around because it doesn't know what this 240p signal really is. Let's go. There. It's a little fuzzy on the move. Flickery. I had it in widescreen before like this and it was worse. That's slightly better now, but that jittery, joltery interlace looks not good. Let's go to Pro. Yeah, a lot brighter on the Pro. See, that looks better. I'm already at the end. Then let's go into 1080i. See it brighter again on the 1080i. And that arguably looks a little bit better again. So I'd say for the 240p content, 1080i might be the way to go, albeit with no real scan lines. Okay, so the result of that is the gun doesn't work. And the processing the TV employs is not too bad compared to the likes of some others. Let's move on to the Saturn and see AES video NTSC signal. Got the Sega Saturn running this time. NTSC Sega Saturn via S-Video automatically adjusts the color or the system from PAL to NTSC. There is no option in the menu for that. I think the LG just detects it automatically and adjusts. Interestingly, in Virtual HD, 100 is no longer selectable. It even states that in the manual. It's not available to use 100 for Virtual HD in NTSC signal. And that is what the Saturn is putting out. This game is an interlaced game, high resolution interlace, so you would expect normally for it to have a somewhat flickery look. A little bit hard to say. It doesn't appear to really have that flicker, as it should. Oh, off to a bad start. I just wish we could play it in RGB rather than S-Video. It doesn't look too bad. Anyway, NTSC playback gets a pass. As far as it's compatible, it's got the color, it's there, it's not black and white. Doesn't look too bad, the processing on it either. It probably would have tricked me if this was a normal television with a 50 or 60 hertz display refresh rate. I probably wouldn't know the difference. This is where we get a little bit more serious. We have PlayStation 2 now connected via component. We're in component. We can still change the aspect ratio. Good. All right. Go in game. Yeah. This is where it's going to be most telling. So we're in 480i. Let's have a little check. Again, just where we are at. So we can't select 100, we can select Pro and 1080i. We've got an NTSC component signal going into the television. Let's get out of that. Right, so what are we on? 480i. Let's just go to 240p. Alright, so, you know, you've got the image, yeah, that's fine. I don't see any problems with that. Let's go to the next test. Let's go to the true test. Let's establish whether or not the television is 480p capable or not. Oh, what's going on here? So it is displaying it, but look at all these streaks through it. What's going on there? We'll go into Pro. Oh, they're still there. What's happening? Can you see that on camera? It's like light blue, dark blue, it's just like heaps of lines through the screen. Oh. What have we encountered? What have we unlocked here? Oh, it's 480p with a scan line generated into it, but even still, it shouldn't look like that. That's 480p. Let's go for another 480p. Oh, so that one's better. I don't see any dramas there. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? Does this game normally have three 480p modes? I don't even remember seeing them all. So this is another, this is 640 by 448 with a scan line in it. Ugh. Yeah, so the scanline generation just looks weird. What is going on there? It's just not right. God, I almost have to fire up something else, another display, to see what it looks like on another one. So that's a bit weird, to say at the least. Oh, well, we'll try 480p on Gunstar Heroes, looking nice and bright and vibrant there. Ah, oh, come on. 480p, yes. Right, 480p. Yeah, looks fine. 480p with scan lines. Why does it look like dog shit like that for? Why has it got all the lines through it? I don't know, man, that's weird. Big change of gears to scratch this itch, to scratch this 480p scanline business. I've changed over to a BVM, multi-format 14-inch BVM PS2 hooked up via component. Just to get to the bottom of this. Come on, start up game. Put some credits in, get going. How do you do it? That's it. So right now we're on display 240p. Right, let's go to 480p. There goes the BVM ticks over. Right, so it looks a bit softer. The scan lines are gone, but it's still clear. There's no issue there. Right, so now we do the true test. 480p with scan line. Well, there you go, no problem at all. You can see, hopefully the camera picks up the scan lines. 480p, looks good, looks fine. Looks perfectly normal. Let's go, one more. Where's that other one? Oh yeah, I'll just go to that top one.
480p again with scan lines, different resolution, no problems at all. So it looks like the LG's got a real issue when that scan line is activated on 480p. We've reached the stage of using an Xbox 360 on the LG TV, using a component cable that has the little notch switch to HD. We're starting at 480p. Just double check 480p. Well, we're on it. We'll go 720p. It'll want to test 720p at 50 Hz now. Yes, that's fine. Just go back to 480. Test 480 at 50 Hz. Yep, that's fine. And finally 1080i. It seems to get brighter whenever we go up to the higher levels like that. 50 Hz, 1080i, that's fine. I know you want 1080p, no chance in hell that that will work. Of course not. 1080i is where it's at. While we're here, let's look in the menu system of the television once again. Note that cinema mode is now disabled for whatever reason. I've turned the contrast down a bit too because the camera didn't capture the PS2 all that well. But on virtual HD, the only option we now have is 1080i. Pro and 100 are both removed. We can of course still move or switch into 4:3 via the TV. Make note that while I'm on this screen I can see vertical columns of illuminated phosphor pixels with what appears to be vertical scan lines in a sense, but if you compare an edge to the center, it's very fine in there. There's not much actual space between the illuminated lines in comparison to outside where they're more spacious. That'll have a lot to do with the beam landing, the tight deflection angle of the electron gun, and the means to ameliorate or mitigate the effects of that wide angle spot beam landing. It's a conversation for another time, but we will get, I think it would be a good time to actually get some test patterns on screen while we talk about this. Crosshatch is being generated from the pattern generator. It's at 1080i. You can see the vertical lines in the center are the narrowest, whereas the vertical lines on the outside are thicker. They should be all uniform in size across the board. Hence, this is the problem with these super slim tubes with their outer edge distortions, if you want to call it that. I could actually just have a little go with the focus pots right now. Oh yeah, look at that. It's affecting the outsides more so than anywhere else. And the center pot. Oh yeah. If it's that, just leave it just about there. So it was pretty good as it was. Finally moving on to the Nintendo Wii U, which is using component cable. The console itself is set at 1080i. We're playing Super Mario 3D World. Looking quite nice. This is really where you want to be using the television on the high end of the scale. I think it can hide a lot of blemishes and show the detail that it's capable of showing. This is a very red and yellow level. I might go to a green coloured level instead. Different level with some different colours. I need the cat suit for that. This time we're going with a level that's got some blue in it to contrast with the red and green that we've already seen. You've seen what the TV is capable of doing. No light gun support. No scan lines in 240p to speak of. Trouble with the scan lines on the 480p mode as you saw in Wonderboy. As we've progressed into the high resolutions here with the Wii U, things have gotten better, more forgiving. Still, there are better televisions out there. LG being very common and quite reliable, however, you will probably stumble across something like this. I don't think you really need to go with the super slim tube for its disadvantages when there's still a lot of CRTs out there that you can find. So only really middle of the pack. Don't really strongly recommend it. Don't really recommend it at all, but it's okay. It's okay. You know what it can do, so if it suits you, by all means follow one up. More to come, and thank you for watching.